Good morning, grade fives. I hope you are well. Today we are going to be doing math, so I want you to get your math textbook as well as your workbook ready for me. Now, the first thing we are going to be looking at is geometric patterns. Now, patterns are repeated arrangements of shapes, numbers, colors, or lines. And geometric patterns is repeated arrangements of shapes. So here you can see on page 88, for example, they have the matchsticks that starts with a little square, and when you add more matchsticks, it grows bigger and bigger. Okay. So then you will get a diagram, for example, there at the bottom of page 88, in which you would say how many matchsticks do you need to make one square, that you would need 4, and then to make 2 you would need 8, and then you can just keep on adding 4 basically to make a bigger shape. So the first activity we are going to look at is on page 89. It is activity 16.1. Now you basically need to look at the pattern of matchsticks, and then you are going to just answer simple questions by like drawing the pattern in your book. Then in your own words, you're going to describe the pattern. So basically you're going to see when you add another 3, it becomes 2 triangles and so on. And then you're going to redraw the diagram, and then you're going to say how many matchsticks do you need to make one triangle, and then 2 triangles, and then 3, and then so on. There would be a pattern, so it would be easy for you. Then the next exercise on page 90, it's basically the same. So it's exercise 16.2, where you once again need to look at the pattern and just answer simple questions, draw a diagram, and so on. But the little more difficult exercise is on page 91, exercise 16.3. So now they just give you number patterns, right? So this is, and there's going to be a sequence. So the sequence is a group of numbers or shapes that follow each other in a particular order. So here we have number 1. We have 1, 6, 11, 16, 21. Now you need to continue with this sequence, but now you need to figure out what the sequence is. So the best way is to take the first digits 1 and 6 and minus them from each other. So 6 minus 1 equals 5. So now we know that the difference between the numbers is 5 every time. So then we go to 21. We just add a 5 to make it 26. Add another 5 to make it 31. Add another 5 to make it 36. So that is as simple as that. Okay. So now you can do the rest on that page. Now let's go to page 92. Now it's about symmetry. Now a line symmetry is basically a shape that has a line symmetry if it can be folded in such a way that one half lies exactly on the other half. So basically, if you can see on the picture, there's a line through. If you fold that tree picture, it will fold exactly on top of each other. But the asymmetry one is not symmetric, so it will not. As you can see, the sides are different. So line of symmetry is the line that divides the two shapes. Now you need to do exercise 17.1. You are basically going to tell me how many lines of symmetry does these shapes have. So how many times can you fold this shape so that it fits exactly onto each other? So here we have a picture of it. So we have a square, a rectangle, and a rhombus, a kite, and so on. But I want you to just look at the square, for example. Now it has 4 lines of symmetry because it can be folded in 4 different ways, and it would still be exactly the half of the shape, right? Then we go to the next activity, which is on page 94, exercise 17.2. Now this activity, you need to understand what rotational symmetry is. Now this is a shape that has rotational symmetry if it can be rotated so that it looks exactly like the original shape at least once before completing a full turn. So we have a triangle here on the picture. If you turn it once, so I mean turn it so that the point of the triangle is exactly where they were. Turn it just once, it will it will be rotating, correct? And it will stay the same. So that means that it can be rotated and still stay symmetric. Now at exercise 17.2, you need to tell me whether these shapes can be turned and how many times it can be turned, and in what order of rotational symmetry of each shape. So how many times can it be turned, and can it be turned, right? Then the last exercise is exercise 17.3. We need to look at the shapes, and then you need to answer just a couple of questions like which shape has lines of symmetry and rotational symmetry, which shapes have line symmetry but not rotational symmetry, which shapes have rotational symmetry but non-line symmetry, and then number 4, which shapes do not have line symmetry or rotational symmetry. Now this is basically a simple easy activity where you're just going to write A, B, C, D until H in the correct number. Then the last thing you have to do is the revision test on page 95. Then that is all that you have to do for math today. If you have any questions, remember you can ask me at any time on WhatsApp, or you can leave your questions for our Zoom session. Good luck.